Bay, can I ask you to just go and check on the stream that we sound okay?
On my phone or something?
Yeah.
Where be? My phone.
I don't know. Where is it?
Where did it be?
According to this, we are live, which is good. That functioned. That means that I can close this and open up the number generator. Boop. Boop. Bear with us for a second, folks. I can always do oh, that's smart. That's just too smart.
I lost my phone.
See, that's why you're in charge. Here. You're in charge. I'm just here. Folks who are watching the stream and see an elbow, this is Isaac. He's my partner.
Your elbow.
Elbow.
Your elbow partner.
Yeah. Just a disembodied elbow. Love that guy. I guess. Sucks to be a witch. What movie was it where, like, somebody's partner was a book? Do you remember that? Oh, yes. She had tried to do a spell on him and he turned into a book. Good times. Anyway, hi guys. Welcome to Betwixt the Books. This is I guess, kind of a tag. We weren't tagged. We had planned content. Neither of us did the stuff that we needed for the content because we were not going to put that on ourselves. So we're just going to do something fun, which is the bookshelf scavenger hunt thing where people would, like, random number into their shelves and do reviews. Now, here's the thing. There is a high percentage of books behind us that we have not read. So it's kind of going to be a mixture of the bookshelf scavenger hunt, where in theory we would be giving you a review of a book, like randomly from our shelves. And we may still do that if we get the book that we get is one that we've already read. But we may also just be doing a little bit of a try chapter tag where we grab a book and read it. And depending on how long that first chapter is, we may not read the whole first chapter because we're not going to force you to sit here while we're just reading 20 pages. But we may read a little bit of it. Yeah, could totally be solid. I have zero issues with that. This is going to be a little bit of a mess. I had to put headphones in so that Gretchen wasn't echoing every time she spoke. So I'm probably going to be, like, taking off and putting on headphones a fair amount and then running over there. Yeah. And then there's mine, which are all the same shitty Target bookshelf, but they are overstuffed. So there's going to be times where I'm like, I don't know, there's probably... We're good?
Can't hear Gretchen.
Can't hear Gretchen at all?
No.
Ooh, that's not good. Let me see if I can fix that. See, I'm glad that I had him check that, because I would not have known what is happening, because it was working previously. Edit. Properties. Device. Headset. Okay. So can you see for me again?
I mean, yes.
Isaac, can you let me know if what I did just fixed that when you get to that point, because I'm sure there's a delay. We've just been chatting, and it's just been my end of the chat, which is great.
I mean, who really needs to hear me anyway?
I want to hear you. You're my favorite.
I mean, it would just be really awkward if I was like,
Got her?
well,
Okay, thank you for checking. See, that's why I had you check. Because I love
Thanks,
you.
Isaac. Teamwork makes the dream work, folks. Also, hello, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first, since I've been talking? Because then you can have a chance to talk.
Okay.
And you said what? 3 shelves or 4
I have
shelves?
3 shelves. I have 3 cases we're going to go out of, and then I'll give you the shelves after that.
So bookcase number 2.
Okay. That's 3 shelves.
3 shelves. Shelf number 2.
Okay. That's about 18 books.
Book number 13. Also, folks, if you see me eating, I'm just eating my dinner because I had not
This
eaten
is actually really exciting. Wait, I love this.
Okay.
So I've actually read this book. Book 13 on that shelf is All American Boys.
Oh, how lovely.
By Jason Reynolds and Brendan Keeley. So this is a book. Jason Reynolds and Brendan Keeley wrote this book. It's dual POV. Jason Reynolds did the voice of an African American teenager, and Brendan Keeley did the voice of a white teenager. And it's the setup. It's all about police brutality against African Americans. And so the back of it is Rashad is absent again today. That's the sidewalk graffiti that started it all. Well, no, actually, a lady tripping over Rashad at the store, making him drop a bag of chips, was what started it all. Because it didn't matter what Rashad said next, that it was an accident, that he wasn't stealing. The cop just kept pummeling him over and over. And so while this is all being... The cop is related to Quinn, who's the white kid that Brendan Keeley writes, but Quinn also witnessed what happened. So there's a lot of politics involved. Both of the boys are really humanized. It's really wonderful. So I think we've talked about this in a couple of videos, I think, and it's a really good book. So that's my review. Go read it.
Ooh, I love it. What age is that for? Is it a YA book?
Yeah, it's a YA book.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, for me, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shelves with 5 shelves each.
Okay. So case 5.
Okay.
Shelf 3.
Okay. That one's one of my overstuffed ones. How joyous. It's probably about 30 books on there.
Okay. Book 25.
All right. Let's see if I can find that.
I'm also definitely looking down at my computer in case anyone is curious. I couldn't raise it up high enough, so there you go. You did it! You can't hear me, but it's fine.
It's a book I haven't read, Come Tumbling Down by Shannon McGuire. I don't know if this is the newest or the second to last book in the Wayward Children series. That series I love. If you haven't seen it, we did do I think it was a Bibliomancy for Beginners episode on the first book in this series, Every Hearted Doorway, a couple years ago. They're short little novellas. This one, let me see here, is the 5th installment in it, and it follows Jack and Jill again. The second book in that series followed Jack and Jill, but this one's following them, I'm going to assume, after the events of the first book, because the first book happened after the events of the second book. The second book was telling what Jack and Jill's experience was like in their... If you don't... Okay, hold on. Wayward Children series involves portal fantasy. It involves children who have fallen into other worlds in the way of, like, finding a doorway or whatever. They go into a magical world, and they have come back to the human world, and they're having a hard time adjusting to that fact. The first book takes place at a school where all of these girls or kids are taken to try and help them adjust back to normal life, and some murders start happening. Jack and Jill are twins from that first book. The second book follows what happened to them, like what world they went into. So this, I'm assuming, is going to be following the events of the first book, the one that had the murders in it. So it's going to be after the events of both of those books. But let's just see. I'm good at reviewing, giving you the context you need. I'm just not going to skip over that stuff. When Jack left Eleanor West's home for Wayward Children, she was carrying the body of her deliciously deranged sister, whom she had recently... Oh, there might be spoils for the first book. If you haven't read them, there might be spoils in this plot description.
Might be.
5th book, definitely plot description. Plot spoils. Just saying. Whom she had recently murdered in a fit of righteous justice. Back to their home on the moors, but death in their adopted world isn't always as permanent as it is here, and when Jack is herself carried back into the school, it becomes clear that something has happened to her. Something terrible, something of which only the maddest of scientists could conceive, something only her friends are equipped to help her overcome. Eleanor West's no quests rule is about to be broken again. So I'm assuming we get to see some more of our other friends too in this one, because all of the previous ones I think have had been like prequels in a way, like they were showing those other worlds. I actually am super excited about this. Do you want me to read a first chapter of it, or I mean,
yeah, I think that's fine.
I think I had enough to talk about there because it's part of a series I've at least started. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first page slash chapter is like, I don't know what this is.
Let me see.
Don't remember buying it.
Yeah. I do know what this is. I could tell you a little bit about it. I do recommend the series. It's a great series, and they're short if you like fantasy, or even if you haven't tried fantasy, they might be a good thing to try. They're queer, which is great too if you're somebody that really likes queer lit. It's adult fantasy, but I don't think that there's anything particularly, like, there's no sexual themes, so I think if like you have a teen who wants to try fantasy, they would still be applicable there too, as well. Just saying. All right. Let me do this. 3 bookcases.
Yes.
Shelf number 2 again.
Oh, all right. Well, that's 3 again.
Shelf 3.
Oh, okay. Hang on. We're going down. $15.
Book number 13. Lucky number 13.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is a book that I have not read, but you're all going to recognize it. So this is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, as popularized by the Grisha series and, of course, now the show on Netflix. So people who have watched the show on Netflix are probably really confused if they go and read this series, because what the first season did was it took the characters from this, who technically don't show up in the books until after Mal and Alina's story has closed, and the whole thing with the Darkling. So this is 6 dangerous outcasts, 1 impossible heist. Ketterdam, a bustling hub of international trade where anything can be had for the right price. And no one knows that better than criminal prodigy Kaz Brecker. Kaz is offered a dream and a deadly heist that could make him rich beyond his wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. Because this is like, a group heist. There's a convict, a sharpshooter, a runaway, a spy, a heartrender, which is one of the magic people in this world, and a thief. And this is book 1 in a duology. The second one is called Crooked Kingdom. And then the Shadow and Bone trilogy is the first 3 books. And I actually have to say that I have heard this is better than the first series. And which was exciting because I actually didn't really like the first Shadow and Bone book that much. But after watching the Netflix TV show, the Crows are definitely the best part of that show. And I think that would really make me more interested in reading this to find out what really happens in their story. But yeah, it's this was pitched to me, a 1-sentence pitch. It was Ocean 11, but teenagers and fantasy. So there you go.
It's also popular on TikTok, I think, because everybody that comes into my store for a while was looking for that series.
So yeah, that's that book. All right.
Again, 6 bookcases.
Okay. Case 1.
Okay. 5 shelves.
Shelf 2.
Shelf 2 probably has, again, about 30 books on it. It's also an overstuffed shelf.
29.
Oh, all right. I'll just go to this. Give me a second. I might go off screen because that's my black bookcase.
Michaela has far more shelves happening. Technically, I have one upstairs as well, and I do have a 4th case right there. But there's nothing on it right now. So Whoops, I guess.
Fun facts, there was exactly 30 books on that shelf, so I could have just done the thing where I went to the second to last book, but... Fragile Things by Neil Gaiman, a book that I have read. This is a collection of Neil Gaiman short stories. Probably most well-known in this collection is one that's based on Sherlock Holmes. It's not Sherlock Holmes, but it's like in a Sherlock Holmes style story, but a little bit more fantastic because obviously Neil Gaiman is more of a fantasy writer. I love Neil Gaiman and all of his books. If you've like read American Gods and really liked it, or read Sandman and really liked it, these are just a bunch of weird short stories. So if you're a short story person, if you're a fantasy person, I mean, let me give you the back of the book. It'll probably tell you more about some of these. Mysterious circus terrifies an audience for one extraordinary performance before disappearing into the night. In Hugo Award-winning story, a great detective must solve a most unsettling royal murder in a strangely altered Victorian England. Two teenage boys crash a party and meet the girls of their dreams and nightmares. These marvelous creations and more showcase the unparalleled invention and storytelling brilliance, as well as the terrifyingly dark and entertaining sense of humor of the incomparable Neil Gaiman. By turns delightful, disturbing, and diverting, Fragile Things is a gift of literary enchantment from one of the most original writers of our time. So, yeah, Fragile Things by Neil Gaiman. I do recommend this. I don't remember what I rated it, because I think I read this either in high school or, like, freshman year in college. I think it was, like, my senior year of high school. So it's been a while, but it is a good collection. I did enjoy it, and obviously Neil Gaiman's master of writing, so... highly recommend it.
You pulled that off the shelf, and what I thought it was that one Sherlock Holmes like spin-off with the girl.
Oh yeah, that one's
Yeah.
I think on my yellow shelf because it's got
it's
Beekeeper's
got
Apprentice. It's right there.
Yeah, that one. That's what I thought that was gonna be, and I was like, oh, I know this one, and then I was like, thank God you kept your mouth shut.
Joke's on you. It's not that one. We that would have been a second bibliomancy book if that was the case.
Oh my God, that would have been so funny.
Let me just review all of our bibliomancy books. Please take them. All right.
I mean, I've been lucky that I've known every book that I've pulled off my shelf so far.
Know. Shelf number 3.
Oh, okay. That one has 4.
4. Shelf number 1.
Oh no.
Not shelf number 1.
Maybe we'll just do, because this is the one with the side stacks, maybe we'll ignore the side stacks and we'll just do the center books.
Whatever you want to do. How many?
16.
16. 10.
Oh, okay, we've done it. We've come to a book. I don't know what this is.
Perfect.
So I know that I bought this at Barnes because it has the Barnes signed sticker on it. And also, sorry, my cat has decided to make herself known. This is called The Brilliant Death by Amy Rose Capetta. Allison Goodman, who wrote Eon and Iona, blurbed it on the front. There is a map. Oh, you can hear it. You can hear that I haven't opened it. Like the whole spine just. Okay. So Theodora D. Sangro is used to hiding her magical abilities to transform enemies into music boxes and mirrors. Nobody knows she's a Striga, and she aims to keep it that way. Then she meets Celio, and everything changes. A Striga who can effortlessly swap back and forth between female and male, human and animal. Celio shows Theodora what her life could be like if she masters her powers, and how much more she's capable of. And at a moment too soon, the ruler of Venalia has poisoned the patriarchs of the country's 5 controlling families, including Theodora's father, and demands that each family send a son to the palace. If she wants to save her family, Theodora must travel to the capital, not disguised as a boy, but transformed into one.
Interesting gender stuff.
I know, well, and you know what, because that happened in Eon and Iona, too.
Okay.
There was some interesting gender stuff in there. But the road to the capital and to bridling her evolving powers is full of enemies and complications, including the one she least expects, falling in love. Yeah, this is really fun. There's actually art along with her signature in the front, which is really cool. I mean, I can definitely see why I picked this up. You know, this seems like clearly something I would have been like, oh, yes, tell me more. And then I didn't read it. When did this come out? This came out in 2018. This was new in 2018. That's how long I've had it. I'll just read you the first part here because I can already see, when I was a little girl, I thought my father was the king of Analia. Our family lived in a round-walled castle that seemed to grow from the mountainside. Father's favorite chair had been carved out of a black walnut tree. When I squinted long enough, it became a throne. The first time I saw him kill someone, it made perfect sense. A king had to protect his family and his mountain. And then it goes on to describe the man her father murders, so I'm just gonna hold that there in case that's not what anyone's feeling right now. But yeah, definitely a lot of interesting stuff going on in this, but it's been sitting up here on this top shelf and I forgot what it was about, so it's actually quite... Without the romance stuff, I would be like, yes, tell me more, but YA romance, man, is just bringing me down.
We've discussed that recently as well.
Yes.
So, I don't know, 6 shelves, 6 bookcases.
Okay. Case 2.
Case 2, that's red books and orange books. 5 shelves.
Shelf 1.
All right. It has some white books on there because my Brandon Sanderson's Way of Kings series, what's it called? Who's he? What's it's right there as well. 1, 2, 3. Let's go with like 35 books on that shelf.
Book 2.
Okay, easy. I'm gonna hold this up and people are gonna be like, I thought you said that was your red bookshelf. The spine is red, the cover is blue. A book I haven't read. This is The Tale of Rawhead and Bloody Bones by Jack Wolfe. I'm assuming this is horror, so let me just read the back of it and I'll let you know.
I'm assuming that this book on my shelf is about something.
What, you wouldn't think that The Tale of Rawhead and Bloody Bones isn't a horror book?
It is clearly a romance novel set in Victorian England.
There was no way it couldn't be. You know, you're right. I don't know my shelves at all. I was a young man. I was strong. I was something over 6 feet tall, and seemingly I was quite mad. Meet Tristan Hart, a brilliant young man of means. The year is 1751. I mean, it could be. It could very well be a historical.
Right.
Anyway, and at the age of 20, he leaves home to study medicine at the Great Hospital of St. Thomas in London. It will be a momentous year for the intellectually ambitious Mr. Hart, who, as well as being a student of Locke and Descartes and a promising young physician, is also, alas, psychotic. Alas.
Alas. As one does.
Unfortunately. He is obsessed with the nature of pain and medically preventing it, but his equally strong and much harder to control obsession is with causing it. Desperate to understand his deviant desires before they are his undoing, he uses the new tools of the age, reason and science and skepticism, to plumb the depths of his own dark mind. Profoundly imaginative, unexpectedly funny, and with a strange but moving love story at its heart. Gretchen was right. The Tale of Rawhead and Bloody Bones is an oddly beautiful and daring novel about the relationship between the mind and body, sex, madness, pain, and the existence of God. Let me go to the front of this.
I am just so talented.
When did this come out? Because I do not know how long this has been on my shelf. It's a paperback. It's copyright 2013, so I may have picked it up in college. It's a little beat up, so that could be fair. One morning in the autumn of 1741, when I was not yet 11 years of age, still round in figure and innocent in mind, Nathaniel Ravenscroft took me a-walking by the river. Oh no, the language.
A walk-in.
It took me a walking.
walk-in.
I suppose that this small river, the Collar, must have emerged from beneath the chalk hills somewhere to the south, and as I had once been told that it did not, as other local rivers tribute the Isis at Oxford, I imagined that it must somewhere have an equivalent place at which it sank again beneath them to flow silent and unseen below the White Horse. There is a lot of capitals in this that feel weird. Let me see, I don't know if you can see this, but like there's like weird things capitalized in there, which is the walking thing was one thing, but also the weird capitalization there is intriguing to me. I do enjoy books that do weird things with language, so I'm not opposed to reading it, but for somebody else who may have been like, that sounds interesting, if you don't like reading things with weird language, it might turn you off. I'll just say that. I'm not opposed to it. I didn't even remember that this was on my shelves, full stop, as well, so I'm glad that that's there, because that actually sounds super interesting to me. For folks who don't know, one of my other degrees was in, one of my other things that I was studying was in anthropology, and specifically biological anthropology, and the history of medicine and science is kind of tied up with that, so that's something that I've always been interested in. I'm not usually a big fan of period pieces that are that old. Like, I tend to not to go to the 1700s, but why not? There's a crazy guy
like I said, the Victorian England romance.
Romance, there it is. She was 100% accurate. It's also probably a horror book based on what I also read. Sounds like he's a serial killer. What am I doing? 3 shelves. Generate.
Yes.
Number 3. Again.
Okay.
4. Generate. Shelf 1. Is it again?
Yes.
18?
Yeah.
18?
Is it book 18?
Yeah.
Or is that just
Yeah, book 18.
Okay. Like I said, the top shelf of this, which you often see behind me in my videos, behind the stuff, is a display shelf of books that I have that are either special or they're signed. And this is no exception. So this is Dragon Watch by Brandon Mull. It is related to his Fablehaven series, so this would be middle grade. And I've actually never read this or like the Fablehaven books, but I met Brandon Mull at one of the Book Expo Americas that I attended. And I had a friend who really, really liked Brandon Mull, and so I went there and I got stuff for them. And when I told them that I was getting stuff for a friend and that the book wasn't for me, they said, well, we'll give you one too, which is not something that is often done there. So you can see, hi Gretchen, and then his signature on the book.
How cute.
But so this is one of the things where there's nothing on the back of the book but a Kirkus review, because it'd be like that. The dragons are no longer our allies. In the hidden dragon sanctuary of Wormroost, Celebrant the Just, king of the dragons, plots his revenge. He has long seen the sanctuaries as prisons, and he wants nothing more than to overthrow his captors and return the world to the age of dragons, when he and his kind reigned without borders. The time has come to break free and reclaim his power. No one person is capable of stopping Celebrant and his dragon horde. It will take the ancient order of Dragon Watch to save the world from destruction. Long ago, Dragon Watch was a group of wizards, enchantresses, dragon slayers, and others who confined the majority of dragons into sanctuaries. But nearly all the original Dragon Watch members are gone, and so the wizard Agad reaches out to Grandpa Sorensen for help, as one does. Just reach out to a grandpa. As Kendra and Seth confront this new danger, they must draw upon all their skills, talents, and knowledge and battle against forces with superior supernatural powers and breathtaking magical abilities. So again, I don't actually know that if you read Fablehaven, if that would make more or less since because I've not read them. But I do believe this is the start of a new related series. It's the kind of thing where if you'd read Fablehaven, you'd get maybe some more of the details, but you don't have to have started this.
Right.
So I can't say necessarily that this is something that I'm interested in reading, but it was just so cool to meet him and have that interaction. And I mean, when I read middle grade more consistently, I mean, dragons were like a thing. So I think this is like a really good series, whether or not, no matter your age, if you need some good dragon, you could read stuff by Brandon Mull and you could enjoy it. Without me knocking off, more likely. That's fine. Okay. 6 cases.
Yes.
Case 1.
Okay, black books again.
Okay. Shelf 5.
That's the bottom shelf. That's a larger shelf. Like, I don't know if you can see how, like, their space is bigger down the bottom here. So let's go with, although that one's mostly hardcovers, let's go with 40. There might be more than that, but let's go with 40.
Book 22.
22. On my way.
Good luck finding that. This stream is in no way sponsored by Google, but that is the number generator that we are using, in case you're curious. You may not be, but that is the first thing that comes up when you search a random generator. So, there we are.
A book I have not read, that I clearly got at Barnes & Noble, and then I got when the bargain stickers looked like this, which they don't look like anymore, so I've had for a while. It is Sarah Gruen's At the Water's Edge. I have read, is she the one that wrote Water for Elephants? Does that sound right?
No. No?
She's
I'm going to Google it while you talk.
Okay. I feel like she wrote Water for Elephants, which I have read. If that's the case, then that may be why I picked this up. Because I did like Water for Elephants. But I don't know what this one is specifically.
You did write Water for Elephants. I'm sorry, I lied to you.
It's perfectly fine. I was about to say the inside dust jacket says in this thrilling new novel from the author of Water for Elephants. So the book itself told me. Let's pull my stuff back up here. And do this again. Okay. After disgracing themselves at a high society New Year's Eve party in Philadelphia in 1944, Madeline Hyde and her husband Ellis are cut off financially by his father, a former Army colonel who is already ashamed of his son's inability to serve in the war. With his best friend, Hank, Ellis decides that the only way to regain his father's favor is to succeed where the colonel once very publicly failed, by hunting down the famous Loch Ness Monster. Okay. Maddie reluctantly follows them across the Atlantic, leaving her sheltered world behind. The trio find themselves in a remote village in the Scottish Highlands, where the locals have nothing but contempt for the privileged interlopers. Maddie is left on her own at the isolated inn, where food is rationed, fuel is scarce, and a knock from the postman can bring tragic news. Yet she finds herself falling in love with the stark beauty and subtle magic of the Scottish countryside. Gradually, she comes to know the villagers, and the friendships she forms with the two young women open her up to a larger world than she knew existed. Maddie begins to see that nothing is as it first appears. The values she holds dear prove unsustainable, and monsters lurk where they are least expected. As she embraces a fuller sense of who she might be, Maddie becomes aware not only of the dark forces around her, but of life's beauty and surprising possibilities. I don't know if that means the interjection of the phrase, a world that she never knew existed, makes me feel like there's magic involved, but her other book...
Is Nessie real?
Is Nessie real? Because If your father very publicly failed to find Nessie, and Nessie is not real, your quest to find Nessie is also doomed to fail.
Also, I'm just like, what did they do that was so bad at a party they got to soak? Did they dress up as the Loch Ness Monster? I don't.
Just getting
Anyway, I guess
disowned.
Michaela will have to read the book and report back to us.
Yes. I enjoyed Water for Elephants. She does historical romances usually, although they're already married, and it seems like this is more about female friendships, which I also usually really enjoy stories that involve female friendships. So yeah, I have nothing against reading this. It's an older book. I probably liked, 2015. I picked it up on bargain, so I probably picked it up after 2015. But yeah, I have nothing against this. I haven't heard very much about it. I think most people would read Water for Elephants more so than this one. But
all of these titles with water in them.
Very watery. Yeah. Scotland? People like Scotland. It's beautiful there.
It is.
Alright, what am I doing?
Take me to Scotland.
3
Alright, you want to do one more round?
Yeah. 3 bookcases. Case 1.
Okay. I actually haven't picked off this. There's 2.
2.
Oh boy. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10.
10. Book 5.
Oh my god, okay, I can talk about this book. So, I haven't, if you follow me on Instagram, you know this, but I recently left my library job. And one of the things that I did is I went and I bought some of the books that I've been reading for my American President's Challenge in hardcover, because I wanted to own them. And so this is Unthinkable: Trauma, Truth, and the Trials of American Democracy by Jamie Raskin, who is a congressman. And if you watched the second Trump impeachment, he was the lead impeachment manager for that. And so this book made me cry multiple times. This is a book about suicide, so that is not a thing for you. It's not for you. But Jamie Raskin had a son and 2 daughters, and December 31st, his son committed suicide after a very, very long battle with depression. And Jamie Raskin's first day back at work was the insurrection. And so one of his daughters and one of his sons-in-law, weirdly not the one married to that daughter, comes with him. And so because they don't want him to be alone, on his first day there, and they end up trapped in an office for several hours. He doesn't know where they are. And it is just the story of his family, of his son. It is very much an elegy to his son, and respecting his son's legacy and helping to make the world a better place. And then it is also about the second impeachment. I didn't learn anything that I didn't already know, but I think what comes out of this is that, for someone who literally was brought to the lowest of the lowest points in their life, both personally and then professionally, which is also personal for him, that he comes out with a really optimistic look at America, and what America is, and finding his way back to that positivity through all this. It's a really emotional book that he really did write for his son, about his son and for his son. So again, I cried multiple times, but I bought it for myself in hardcover because I think it's a really powerful book. So if I had to go out on one,
Yay!
So that's Unthinkable by Jamie Raskin.
Beautiful.
So, last one. Here we go. Oh, did I close that window? I did. Okay.
Don't do that.
Oh, you know why? It was because I was
You're like, it's done.
looking.
We did it.
Okay, case 3.
Okay. Yellow and some green books at the bottom.
Shelf 1.
Taupe. All right.
How many books are up there? You think 30?
Yeah, let's go with 30.
Book 24.
What did I say? 24?
24.
That's not gonna
You
help me.
can't-
You're in headphones.
You can't hear me.
24?
24.
Okay. This was 30. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. A book I haven't read. It was almost Vespertine. Vespertine was 23.
Oh, that would have been funny. Wait,
But
is that? Oh, that's
Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe, which is a book that Gretchen and I have discussed possibly reading together in the future, so it's still relevant. It might be a Betwixt review because it involves lesbians in the, or at least a sapphic romance in the 1950s. It takes place between two characters, one of whom is, I believe, Chinese American, during a time period when being any sort of Asian in America was not great for you, and also being queer in America was not great. So, historical romance, it is YA, I believe.
Yes.
I believe it's also getting some discussion on TikTok. But obviously,
it won the Prince, didn't it?
I think it did last year win the Prince. I have the hardcover, so obviously it's something. It was one of my anticipated releases of the year, so I picked it up in hardcover, although it is out in paperback now because I think it was one of Barnes & Noble's like YA picks, the paperback picks that they do every month. Recently, either last month or the month before. I can read the description of it, I guess. That book, it was about two women and they fell in love with each other. And then Lily asked the question that had taken root in her that was even now unfurling its leaves and demanding to be shown the sun. Have you ever heard of such a thing? 17-year-old Lily Who can't remember exactly when the question took root, but the answer was in full bloom the moment she and Kathleen Miller walked under the flashing neon sign of a lesbian bar called the Telegraph Club. America in 1954 is not a place for two girls to fall in love, especially not in Chinatown. Red Scare paranoia threatens everyone, including Chinese Americans like Lily. With deportation looming over her father, despite his hard-won citizenship, Lily and Kath risk everything to let their love see the light of day. So, queer, sapphic romance, YA book, historical, if that you're into that. Obviously it's popular on TikTok, so I'm assuming it's good. It's won an award, so I'm assuming it's good. And
Melinda Lowe, I actually got to meet her at a library event a couple of years ago, and I have some of her other books signed upstairs. And she said that, and this is really great, she said that as a kid, you know, she didn't see lesbians anywhere, and so it is her goal to write a YA book in every single genre and have lesbians in it. Because she was like, and then every single genre. So she has done fantasy, she has done sci-fi, she has done horror, and this is her historical fiction entry. So that's, Melinda Lowe is on a mission.
I am 100% down for that. I think that we definitely need more sapphic representation, and I appreciate that this one's getting a lot of press because I feel, especially even like literary press, because going off on TikTok, usually it's when there are queer books being spoken about, it's usually gay or male romances. It's nice to see a female romance being discussed and like upheld as really good. So again, you may see a review of that from the both of us at some point in the future because we were both interested in it, and it I think fits at least one of our buddy read challenges. Probably.
Well, I mean, one of them, I think, because didn't we bring back just an FF romance in general?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah. There you go. We found books from our bookcases there's a lot of them, so I'm sure we could do this again.
Well, it's
at some
fun.
point.
I'm like genuinely excited that something like The Brilliant Death was on my shelf.
Yeah.
And I got to talk about Unthinkable. So
Yeah. Perfect. Just another excuse. We both will see you again in 2 weeks, as is our thing. Do we know what we're going to be doing next time? No.
no.
We have an idea of what we're going to be doing next time. We might be doing a review of a book that's coming out next week, I think, which was what we were supposed to do this week, but neither of us read it. We might do that. We might do something completely different. You'll never know until it happens.
We don't know.
We don't
So
know
how could you
until
know?
it happens. How could you know? Yeah, so that's it. We will talk to you again soon. Happy March, because it's March now. Happy in quotations with everything that's going on in the world.
Spring is coming, I guess.
Yeah. And we will see you guys again soon.